though we are using the same overlay for my show, Daily Show for Canon's Sake, this is actually not pulled from a segment from the show. You should be catching us live at 12 p.m. though throughout the week. That's 12 p.m. Central over at youtube.com/YoungRubber59. However, if you listen to the audio, if you just want to listen to the audio, you can listen to that wherever you listen to your podcast, as well as forcanonsake.com. But come hang out with us live. We stream over at YouTube, but we will start dual streaming once the new video platform Odyssey rolls out their live streaming platforms, because we are no longer streaming on Facebook because I'm tired of their crap. Okay, this video though, I had to do this video. We have to discuss this bull crap that we're about to see. And look, let's just show you guys. And I'm not gonna play the audio. It's not much audio that you need to hear from it, but just watch, and you're seeing that it's coming from Warner Media. For those that aren't familiar with it, coming from Warner Media, and they have basically put mask on all of the videos that have been funneled through them, the classic videos. You've seen it. You've seen there's Joker right there with a mask. Harry Potter, it looks to be. There's Wonder Woman and now Aquaman. Say mask up America, blah, 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 blah. So, yes, it is Harley Quinn. It's Flash. All these people basically putting this out, or rather Warner Media is putting it out, and they have all of these shows, and the text says it's coming from Twitter. Heroes wear masks. Of course, it's not as if I'm just so tired of hearing heroes and calling everybody a hero. It says heroes wear masks is what it says. Even villains wear masks is what they say. You should too. Hashtag mask up America. But this is the interesting thing. It says the Ad Council and CDC Gov. Of course, those official Twitter pages are the ones that were tagged in this. So you need to be sure to keep that in mind as we continue. I know some people don't agree with me. They don't like the fact that I'm always mentioning the fact that these guys are in a cult. The way this whole mask thing has just really taken over the country, not just the country, I guess other aspects of the world, where people think it grants them all sorts of immunity, and that you are a bad person in the event that you don't wear, no matter what the science says, no matter if there's kind of conflicting studies that have been done, studies that have been recently done, that the only ones that were random controlled trials, RCTs, are the ones that are saying that the evidence is either inconclusive or it's statistically insignificant when it comes to the viral spread and whether or not it prevents it. It's just where it's kind of, oh, well, it's just a slight inconvenience, so wear it anyway. And of course, they demonize you in the event that they don't. Now, they're coming for, as to be expected, your media. They came for the media a while back with the comic books. You couldn't even read a spread. Like, it's funny, you would read books, DC, this DC and Marvel. I think this actually pertains to DC, and they'd have like stay 6 feet apart or something like that. And they have their characters with masks, and it'd be like Batman and Robin on two different sides, complete different sides of the pages. There's 2 different pages. I'm sitting there like, dude, I don't read these books to be consumed by this crap. I actually wanted to get away from it. But let's call this what this is, guys. It's literal propaganda. This is exactly what it is. By literal definition, textbook definition, it is propaganda that they have been certainly spreading, not just when it comes to the mask, but the other things as well. But the reason why I wanted you to pay attention to who they tagged in the post and who this comes from, the main reason is because that's them working with the government. This federal government is working with these private institutions. So merge of corporate and state, kind of this thing that we've talked about on this channel. I know the people that claim to hate fascism so much seems to adopt the literal fascism, not what, fascism does not mean guy on the right that does bad thing. It's not what fascism is. It's actually a thing that we've covered many times on this, but I don't even want to make the fascism approach. What I more so want to talk about is how they are specifically utilizing your taxpayer dollars to fund these guys. And you wonder why such institutions peddle a lot of this nonsense or whatever it is, quite often Democrats, but not exclusively, mainly exclusively, whatever narrative it is that they want when it comes to these certain industries. It's because they are in some capacity funded by these industries. You may not know it. It's not in your face because you may just think of it as something slight. But these guys work with the state. They get government contracts by way of the state. And of course, because the state is not a producer, they are using your money in order to pay these companies to then peddle whatever narrative it is that they want. Lord knows how many millions of dollars Warner Media got for putting that stuff out there. So as cringy as you might think that it is, and I will agree with you, I think the primary focus needs to be on the fact that they are wasting your taxpayer dollars to not only ruin the heroes that the actual heroes that you guys love to sort of perpetuate whatever political bullcrap. It's not just that's a part of it, but just the fact they're robbing you in order to pay for this stuff. Of course, you have no control over that. And see, this has always been the problem with the government when they do stupid stuff, when they spend millions upon millions of dollars, which it's not the going rate for it. It's just, of course, the state gets to overpay for it. And we talk about, I always discuss more so pulling the rug from under these guys, why I'm so adamant against really ending the federal government, but why I'm so against these government institutions is because of this. You see, we have this argument consistently about how to spend the money when the argument to me has always been, how about you keep the money and you spend it on however way that you want. So if you do want to give money to Warner to peddle this nonsense, by all means, reach in your own down pockets and pay for that. But that's not what happens. It's not what happens with anything the federal government does, which is why they can spend millions upon millions of dollars finding out if lizards can walk on treadmills and Pakistani gender studies classes and stuff. That's why they can do that, because the money isn't there, so they can spend it frivolously. But you need to understand the reason why you look at certainly every election cycle. Why do these celebrities and all these academic elites, why are they in so much support? This is another example. We just talked about this actually in the previous video upload from prior to this video, talking about the same thing, in which these guys are the most protective of these institutions because they get paid and benefit from these institutions in some way, shape, form, or capacity. Sometimes it's not as direct as a subsidy or a grant. Sometimes it's in contractual obligations, but they get benefit from them. And this is why when I talk about the cathedral, you need to look at them, these other sorts of spots as like extensions of the state, because effectively that's all it is that they are. They're showing you this. So the crime is not only in maybe the nonsense that they're peddling, which may piss you off, and I completely understand, but let's discuss the fact that, well, they are not only doing that, they're doing it with your money. And this is why I'm always talking about pulling the plug. I get that some of you guys are so optimistic that you think that this can be revised. It cannot. This is a structural broken system in the way that it acts, not because your guy doesn't get the money or get to decide how you want to spend the money. It's the fact that we're going to always have this argument anyway, because the money isn't theirs to begin with. So if we led with that from a conversation standpoint, when it comes to the approach of government, instead of saying, oh, well, the money should go here, the money should go there, or this person should be in control of the money, I want my money going there. How about if you kept it and then you decide where you want your money to go? It's kind of funny how that works. It's almost like that makes more sense. Instead of selling off assets of unborn people, which is what they effectively do when they monetize debt, or strong-arming you saying, hey, pay the loot or go to jail, or we'll kill you in the event that, you decide to resist. Instead of having that be a case, how about we limit, I would say from the federal aspect, completely end it, but at minimum, limit how much money they take from you so they are able to spend money on propaganda pieces that will be put out. And again, you have these what are deemed as private. This is why I hate using that term to describe some of these companies, because they get contractual obligations and benefits that come directly from the state. So effectively, they're propped up by way of the state. And Hollywood is not sort of immune to this idea, but that makes sense when you consider how protective some of those blue check marks are every election cycle. In the event that you want to get them out the way, you say, well, these guys got a lot of money. Wouldn't they benefit from sort of decentralization, lower taxes? No, they wouldn't. Because that's who pays them, and those are who their handlers are. And they have absolutely no problem working with the federal government or really local governments to benefit them. So that's your money being spent to line up these studios' pockets that we just saw an example of. And it's criminal. I would agree.